trying to stay out of the way. Here I am worried about it blowing up or whatever's going on. So,
I mean, to find out that this happens and the former president gets shot nearly right in the head, almost assassinated across the street from your house, and then to find out that the gunman's car was possibly parked right in front of your house. How many cops are we talking about that were out there surrounding this van? And was there a license plate on the back of that van?
There's probably 5 to 10 cars out there, and there was an Arizona plate on the van.
Welcome back to the channel, everybody, where we cover true crime, mystery to the missing. So many media reports don't ever really mention that Crooks had driven a white van that day of the shooting. Most networks only mention that he drove a Hyundai Sonata and parked it somewhere close to the rally. Also, the bike that was allegedly Thomas Crooks, we still don't have much information about it. What was in the backpack? Whose shirt and shoes were they? Have you ever wondered why it was parked there? I do have a theory on why the bike and backpack may have been positioned in that particular location. So in today's video, we will break down what most media outlets haven't really mentioned. Plus, we'll go over the 2 new videos of Thomas Crooks that have been recently released, and we'll go over how Thomas Crooks likely had plans to create a diversion, with one being a distraction to make an escape. So going back to the timeline we are aware of, on July 13th, after Crooks had gone to buy ammo at a local store around 1:55 p.m., he would have parked this white van here off Lawrence Road sometime between 2 and 3 p.m. We can see the location of the van compared to where the rally was and how close it was. To this day, it has not been mentioned how Crooks obtained the van. Was it his? Was it some kind of rental? Did he steal it? Or another explanation?
it wasn't blocked off. So later on in the night, everything happened, and we got home, and we were sitting there and saw cops all lined on the street. So whenever we looked out, we walked outside and saw them opening up his vehicle and everything. When the cop opened it, everybody else jumped back and was trying to stay out of the way. Here I am worried about it blowing up or whatever's going on. So,
I mean, to find out that this happens and the former president gets shot nearly right in the head, almost assassinated across the street from your house, and then to find out that the gunman's car was possibly parked right in front of your house. How many cops are we talking about that were out there surrounding this van? And was there a license plate on the back of that van?
There's probably 5 to 10 cars out there, and there was an Arizona plate on the van, and there was...
All we know is that it had Arizona license plates on them, along with 2 IED explosives, a bulletproof vest, and more ammo. A new recent video shows Crooks actually walking towards the AGR buildings. Now, it's unclear when this was exactly taken. Perhaps this was after he had ridden the bike and parked it, and he went back to the van to grab something, and when he returned back, this guy was driving by, captured video of Crooks returning back to the rally. We know that before 5 p.m., they became aware of a suspicious person, and eventually they would become aware of the bike. I honestly think it's possible that this bike had a bigger role to play in an attempt to create a distraction. We know that when we go to the airport, we are always reminded about suspicious bags left laying by themselves and to report them. I do wonder if this was intentional to get local PD distracted with a suspicious bike, and more importantly, a suspicious bag just laying there, and perhaps a rally goer would mention it to law enforcement, which would allow Crooks to climb onto the roof.
Most Americans know that something left unattended could be a security risk. But if you encounter such an item, do you know how to determine whether it is a harmless item or a serious threat? And do you know what to do? Let's start with...
Either way, he did create a distraction by causing them to leave their post and to look for him. At 6:06 p.m., Crooks would climb up onto the roof, and it's believed he used the AC units to climb up onto the AGR building. We can see here that there are 2 areas where he could have climbed up onto the AGR building. But a new video shows Crooks shortly after he had climbed the roof and running across to the position where he would eventually prone down and shoot from. This is where he was actually caught running across. This video would have been taken approximately around 6:06 p.m. as director Christopher Wray claims that they have video of him climbing up on the roof at that time. At approximately 6:11, Crooks would open fire, shooting 8 rounds, but luckily a local SWAT officer shot towards Crooks after the 8th round was fired, causing Crooks to stop and to reposition himself. That allowed the SWAT team enough time to get a clear shot and eliminate Thomas Crooks. I do have a video breaking that down if you would like to check that out. Link is in the top right hand corner and down in the description. In the aftermath, we know that they had found a transmitter next to Crooks' body. This device is a long-range RF remote control transmitter that has a range up to 5 kilometers or 3.1 miles. The 2 IED bombs that Crooks had in the van were attached to a receiver that looked something like this. Crooks clearly had every intention of setting these off, but if we look at where he had parked his van, although it was close to the rally, it was sitting in a small, quiet neighborhood. This van was certainly not parked close to any big areas with large groups of people around, and if detonated, would likely have not caused much injury unless there were some random people walking by. So why park the van there and detonate it? If we look at where he had parked his bike and where he had positioned the van, it seems as if Crooks had planned to detonate the van as a distraction just after the shooting.
Very close, and the fact he even got there in the first place was a failure. It should have been stopped. What's interesting, Robert, is that he had a detonation device on him and 2 bombs in the car. What his plan was to assassinate the president, create a diversion by blowing up his vehicle on the other side of the property, and then he could escape.
Do you have confidence in the secret?
But of course we will never know since those bombs never did get activated, thank goodness. But why didn't the bombs go off? Well, according to director Christopher Wray, Crooks had not activated the receivers. As we can see in this demonstration video of a guy using the same concept to set off a small bomb, we see that he activates the receiver first, then presses the button on the transmitter. Even though it has been 3 weeks since the shooting, it seems we still have little to no knowledge about this white van. Again, how did Thomas Crooks obtain it? Why was there Arizona plates on them? Still, so many questions have not been answered, but hopefully that will change. I hope you enjoyed today's breakdown. Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Please smash that like button and subscribe if you're into true crime coverage. Please consider supporting this channel by becoming a member or a Patreon, and thank you so much for watching.